Alrighty, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back, of course, to another video on the channel. Now, I know you can't see me, and that is because I'm actually out in Las Vegas right now. We're on a bit of a business trip here, and I forgot my camera, so we're just gonna have to ride without it. But today I wanted to talk a little bit about what is happening over with Bitcoin and what is actually happening over with Solana, because they are both going through very similar things that I think will have major implications for their prices going forward. So obviously, you all know that I like to keep you as up to date as possible. So first off, we're gonna start with Bitcoin. I'm gonna tell you exactly what I am seeing from its price and how this does then compare to Solana towards the second half of the video. Now, looking at Bitcoin here, of course, the main thing that stands out to me is what is happening at this $25,500 level. Now, we can't be specific, 25.467K, but teeth thrown. Now, what we can clearly see happening is that this is your breakdown level number one. Of course, as you all know, we have been talking about the fact that ascending wedges of this nature will almost always break to the downside. And as they break to the downside, they will very likely go to the most recent point in which you established support on them, which in this case was back here at 25.5K. That is what is actually happening with Solana right now. As you all know, we have been tracking this ascending structure, and I've told you all consistently that there is a very strong likelihood that Solana's price does start to fall out this ascending structure and possibly revisit some of these previous points of support. But anyway, so looking at Bitcoin, what we can see here at this given point is that its price is still trying to maintain this breakdown target number. Let's go ahead and call this number one. Okay, it's trying to maintain breakdown target number one here. Now, as it has been establishing this support, it's honestly done a good job of holding this level, allowing the bulls to start to kind of slowly build up some momentum. We saw here that your daily chart prime oscillator was giving a ton of bullish signs. As you can see here, we got this oversold reading here, bullish momentum dots here, 3 drives of bullish divergence as identified by these green lines, and your blue peak finder, all of which do typically say, listen, we're probably going to get a move to the upside relatively soon. Now, this was a fantastic sign, right? As we started to build support here, I bought a little bit of Bitcoin, just like, hey, might as well, let's see what happens. And of course, off of this final little dip to the downside, it's still up 6%, but it was up to 10% at one given point. But what you can see now is that as this has happened, Bitcoin itself has really struggled to maintain this move to the upside, and very well could be coming back to establish some type of possible backtest of support, or possibly, in the worst case scenario, the final pull to the downside after this fake out to the upside. Okay, so what I want you all to look out for extremely closely, and I mean extremely closely because this is going to happen closely, is how does Bitcoin handle this backtest of support as it comes back to retest this key Fibonacci level between 25.8K and 25.4K. This key level of support is going to be the identifying factor of whether or not this actual backtest is going to lead to some type of possible uptrend, or if this was just some type of fake out to the upside, very similar to what we saw back here, that will then lead to some type of further continuation to the downside. Some people are saying that if you do just kind of zoom all the way out of this and just look at this from a more zoomed out perspective, this very easily could be some type of descending channel in which historically we have seen these continue falls to the downside. Boom, we'll see something like this, and then a continued fall to the downside is kind of just a little consolidation phase, right? And so the main thing at this given point is, boom, okay, are we capable of maintaining support above $25.5 to $25.8 thousand? If we are capable of doing so, we could be looking good for some type of continuation. And as I did mention in the last video that I talked about Bitcoin, this easily could be some type of little double bottom forming, or W bottom, however you want to call it, right? Boom, here we go, double bottom establishment with your MLR right here, a little fake out to the downside. So the moment we would cross 27.8K, we're looking real good for a move back up to $30,000. That's well within the realm of possibilities. But at this given point, Bitcoin is coming back for the back test, and this back test to this level is going to be the key identifying factor of if Bitcoin is truly capable of making a move to the upside now, or if we're about to see some real pain to the downside as support does get lost. Okay, so watch extremely closely how this back test does affect Bitcoin's price, and I will continue to update you as this does happen, because this is crucial. All right, now Solana is in a very similar position. As you all know, we have been talking about what is happening with Solana here on this ascending level of support, and it does also seem to be in a position in which it's coming for its own back test. So let's talk a little bit about what that looks like and what you need to expect. Now, before we do get into that, of course, you guys know that in these videos, when we talk about your Bitcoin, Solanas, your ADAs, your XRPs, and your bigger tokens, we also do a lot of work with some of your more smaller micro cap cryptos, because those are the ones that could be your future Solanas, right? Now, today we did partner with a company company that is on track to becoming one of those top 15, top 20 cryptos, at least in my opinion, and I'm talking about HydraChain. Now, HydraChain, they claim that they're solving the total supply problem. Hydra is an open source proof of stake blockchain with a unique set of economic features. It packs a unique combination of inflationary as well as deflationary mechanics as part of its economy that work in parallel and let the real adoption define its total supply. Now, they have been making this a worldwide effort. Of course, you can see here that there are 867 total nodes distributed across the world in places like the US, of course, Europe. That includes places like Poland, of course, Germany, Switzerland, etc., with over 7.76 million total assets staked. Of course, this is a result of the amount of APR that they're capable of putting out right now at 35%. Now, this is simply due to the fact that they are so new, they are so young. These high amounts never last. They almost always come down. But at this given point, the people who are a part of it are doing quite well. Now, there's clearly been a ton of blocks mined, so this is not something that is brand new, and over $6 million in staking rewards that have been paid out. Now, the reason why they have been seeing so much growth and they are developing so much is because they put a ton of emphasis on the developmental side of things. As you can see here, they've created their own HydraChain mobile wallet in which you can do everything that your Web3 wallet should be able to do, right? Send tokens, receive tokens, you manage your wallets, access their Hydra decks, and much more. Now, on top of that, they did just recently announce that they are coming out with mobile stakings, which will be extremely beneficial to anyone who does use their mobile wallet. And as you can see here, mobile staking is a new and simplified method to stake your Hydra directly from your mobile device or any other device that supports the Hydra wallet extension within the browser. This new feature takes advantage of the recently launched delegated staking mechanism, in which users are now able to delegate their wallets to a super staker of their choice. Super stakers are service providers who run their nodes 24/7 and help process transactions on the network. And now, of course, as a result of this and the fact that this new staking mechanism has just recently released, that does, as I mentioned before, allow them to have such a strong APR that I do believe could maintain for quite a while until their token really does catch momentum within the masses and people realize how good they are. Now, this is a token I just recently invested in, and I have started getting a part of the community, started staking my own tokens, so I do believe it would be something that you all would be interested in. I would love to make way more videos about them in the future and start to cover them as they do progress. So if you would like that, let me know down in the comment section below. And of course, thank you Hydra for sponsoring today's video. So with that in mind, of course, let's get back to Solana. Now, as I mentioned before, Bitcoin and Solana are in extremely similar positions. They both recently just came down to a key level of support, used that support to break a key level of resistance, but now seem to be in the backtesting phase in which they quite easily could lose that support and, well, start to capitulate to the downside, probably burning any bulls that did some buys as that, resistance did break. Looking at Solana here, what you need to be the most aware of is the fact that it is directly on track, in my opinion, to come back down to this ascending level of support. And if this does happen, and if it is not capable of bouncing back above $20.64, we are in a position in which Solana very likely will come back down to $15.71, but quite possibly even further continue that down to your breakdown target number one, currently sitting down at $12.85. Gladly, what I will say is that at this key level of support currently, we do have a ton of liquidity that was just recently established by this small move here. We also have this key level of support that was established by our macro Fibonacci level, and we have this ascending level of support. So there's a bit of an intersection of three key levels of support sitting right here that very well could bounce Solana's price to the upside. So, this isn't something that I'm necessarily worried about at this given point, but I am taking proper precautions, and I am being aware that if this thing does not bounce to the upside, and if it does not establish support on this back test, we're very likely going to capitulate what could easily be another, 17 to 30% from where we are now, and I obviously don't want to get caught and surprised by that, okay? So watch extremely closely. How does this play out? How does the back test play out? Most of your major cryptos are back testing key levels of support, such as XRP back testing this current level at 50 cents. We also have something like ADA Cardano backtesting this key level at 24 cents here. This backtest is going to define what happens in crypto over the next few weeks, and you absolutely need to be aware that we are teetering on the edge of what's either going to be a nice move to the upside or a rather strong capitulation to the downside. So pay close attention to it. Of course, I will continue to update you as this all does play out. Make sure you do go check out HydraChain if you are interested, and make sure you go join in on their communities. All of the links will be down in the description below, and well, I will see you all next time. Peace out, everybody.